Alright, today we're finally going to sort this mess out. In other words, we're sorting by Headstamp. Alright, it's my core shaker that I built. I covered it in another video. Basically, kind of crazy gadget, but it works for me. Got this little base. Bottom 1/4-inch holes where it stands up to all your work from. A separator which keeps everything from double stacking, which really causes problems when that happens. Causes a lot more work. So everything's labeled corner to corner. In. And the top, which these are funnels, and they correspond to the holes in the bottom. They're all drilled at the same time. Made a slight alteration since last time. I may end up making a new piece. It taped off a little bit of this so they don't fall out and I cut a channel, so I can just pour them out into a container when I'm done. Alright, so basically, there's one stuck from the batch I just did. Alright, so show you how malformed ones, squished mouths, can get stuck in there. Yeah. Run them out a bit. Straighten it out later. Alright, basically 315 holes to fill. In this one, excess is best, load it up. Some people like to shake them, which works pretty well, but I tend to just shove them around a bit, and it also works pretty well. Basically everything sized and shaped so that the heavy end, the light end will slide across, and then the heavy end will drop down in. It's not perfect, but yeah, it looks pretty good. And the pre-built ones are kind of expensive, and I got more time than money, so you can guess which way I went with it. Jump out the extras when it's done. Alright. Just fill in the blanks. Aren't too many. I think I saw 4 of them. Alright. Looking pretty good. I may have to put a new piece. Alright. Now, I made this so I can push that little divider. So where I can grab it here, and you see them start to drop into that bottom piece. Go. Now, just don't. This moves, they'll start dropping right off. Great. Take that. Yep, got a couple blank ones. Fill them in now. One upside down, not a biggie. Put that in. Flip it. Now, they're all right up there within reach. Just take the ones that are upside down and flip them. As you can see, most of them end up right. But, you know, nothing's perfect, so just gotta flip the ones that didn't cooperate. Usually there aren't all that many. Alright. You see? 315 of them face up. See if we get you in there a little closer. Maybe a little creaking. Yikes. Yep. PVC. Alright. Looks quite, yeah, you can make out. It's Remington. CCIs. After a few times of doing this, you pretty much can tell what they are by eye. There's some that are hard to read every now and then because they're a little distorted. Like this, the Elys. You got an E, and you got the F's from Federal, and there's a handful of different Federal head stamps. They're slightly different fonts. So, yeah. It's one you go, oh, E, yeah. I throw it in the oddball pile with all the Euros. And there's a Winchester that is a stylized font I throw in there too. Because you don't really get that many of them. Let's see if I can get this out. Quite the creak. Hoping to get a little more focus to it, but basically what I do is I concentrate on one head stamp, you know, go up a row time, maybe a couple, and then grab what's left over. Like the Remingtons, okay. CCI, 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 CCI. Federal, Federal. You can see how this goes. It goes pretty quickly in reality. I just, let's see. Basically, I've taken, I line them up in order. I got my CCIs, Federal, Remington, Winchesters, Super X's, and everything else, because everything else is small quantities. So I figure when I get, you know, a big old bag, then I'll separate those out by head stamps and it'll be worthwhile. Right now, you know, you got 10 or 20 of each. It's just, you know, not worth it. When Remingtons and Federals, you end up with hundreds. So eventually those will be worthwhile, but right now, yeah, not so much. Sometimes they're a little hard to read. What is that one? Looks like a Remington. It's really flattened out. The font is really flat. It's not very embossed. Sometimes it takes a little bit to figure them out. But it's kind of rare. It's not really something you run into a lot. Yeah, they were shooting a lot of Remingtons this last time. Not too many Super X's. Remington. There's a one, I think it's a Winchester. Sometimes it looks like the Remington logo because they're a little flattened out. Like this. this. This one's a little hard to... That's a Remington. Sometimes they start looking like Super X's. Those are... They can be a bit sketchy to read, but... If you were to separate before derimming when they're easy to read, what you would end up doing is having to do everything by Headstamp. You would end up separating them. All right, time to wet tumble. Well, we're tumbling the Federals, and then we're tumbling the Remingtons, and then it would just be ridiculous. So you derim, and then you just go through. It just doesn't take all that much longer, really. Anyway, once you start recognizing them, it's a little harder to do while I'm filming. So. Because sometimes I can get in there with two hands and just, you know. Yeah. You can tell what people are shooting on a given weekend, that's for sure. Sometimes there's a whole lot more Federals, sometimes there's a whole lot more Remingtons, and I'm not seeing many Super X's, which are usually the runner-up. But, you know, still, whoops, I just dropped a Federal in there. Oh, well. I'll find it. I'll probably just go through them later and, you know, before I get too many in there and sort it out. Nothing I've never done before. But you can see how this goes. What have I done? There's 15 in a row. 30, 60, 90, 120. I'm trying. It goes a little slower, you know, when camera's in the way and stuff. But oh, come on! Oh, they start to add up. Like I said, I've only got two Super X's so far. That's kind of bizarre, but yeah, these are all a little bit of everything oddball. That's what I got to go through with that. I already went through one board, so yeah, it's about 400 gone through. All right, I'll bring you back in a bit. Yeah, found a few pins in there, and I was explaining this to someone. See, there's come on. There's a short pin that wedged sideways in the rim and didn't come out, and I missed it. And this can't be good for the die, because when I de-rimmed it, see what happened? It's garbage. Well, yikes. Not good. Luckily it rarely happens, but something to watch out for. Alright, still got a little bit to go. Just dished up another one. And I got a partial, so heck in a minute. Alright, just show you how washed out they can kind of get. See how some of these are hard to read? They're all Remingtons. Usually they look like this one. You know, easy to make out, not a problem. But occasionally you'll get some of these that are pretty stamped out. There was one that I could barely read. And like the Super X's are. Yeah, let's see if I can. Actually, that one looks really good. Let's see if I can get an example that is a little rubbed out. What's that one look like? A little harder to read. Federals, like I said, several flavors of F. Some are hard to make out, some are really easy, but after a while you just, you know, you start to start to see the patterns, and some of them you go, yeah, I know what that is, even though I can't read it. You just, there's certain little curves, and you know, like the Remington, sometimes they're around the edge, they're not centered. Yeah. But for the most part, and works out pretty good. That didn't take me long. Not long at all, really. Okay. Remingtons. Looks like the flavor the day I went was basically Remington. Sometimes I get a lot more Federals. CCI. Like I said, there were over 1,000. Most of them seem to be Remington. The Winchesters, hardly any. And the oddities. I haven't really tried weighing these out and seeing, like I said, Winchesters all over the place. Just madness. The CCIs and the Remingtons tend to be in the low to mid 9s grain range. Federal tends to be the higher 9s and in the 10s up to the upper 10s. I saw an 11.5 Federal once. I have it. It's the only one of anything that's that heavy. Well, besides these beasts. Oh. Yeah, like I say, let's get an idea. That's the difference you end up getting to work with. The 17 HMR and 22 mags versus a 22 long rifle, so yeah, slight difference. Oh, let's see. Well, that pretty much sums it up. Next, I just take my scale here and, yeah, let's see, 9.6. That's pretty common for CCI. That's pretty light, actually, for a Federal. Interesting. I wonder if they're all out of the same batch. Because Federals usually tend, that's more like it for a Federal. Mid-10s. Yeah, that's not bad. Remingtons are usually around 9.6 or so. And yeah. Let's see, Winchesters. Wow, that's almost consistent. But it's just not enough sample size there to, like I said, I was weighing out Winchesters, and I had 14 or 16 consecutive weights by tenths. And if someone's anal enough to go for hundreds, I don't even want. Madness. Sheer madness. I don't recommend it. At least with these three, you'll get a half dozen common weights that come up most consistently. But Winchester is... I'll probably wait till I have just thousands of those before I even bother, really, to make it worthwhile. It's like maybe get a few hundred of each weight. Because there were two that came up a lot, and then a whole bunch that I'd have like one or two, half dozen, maybe a dozen, and I'd have, 30, 40, 50 of a few weights. Just not worth it. Not worth it at this point. All right, so let's see what is next. Yeah, I gotta weigh these out by Headstamp, bag them up, and then core seating. should be next. Alright, later. Alright, I just weighed out the CCIs. I have one 9.4, so 9.5. 9.6 is the majority. 9.7 is the runner-up. 9.8, I got one. So, yeah, there's a gamut, but, you know, some outliers, but for the most part, you know, pretty consistent. Alright, show you what happens with the next one. Okay, this is going to seem kind of crazy. I'm going to sound like I've been lying to you. These are the Federals. And we have 9.4, 5, 6, 7, and 9.8. Then we jump up to 10.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's quite a range there. Still has nothing on those Winchesters. So, but as you notice, the 9.6 kind of has the most. There's really not a lot here, so not seeing the trends building quite as much as if I had hundreds of them. The Remingtons might show the story. I just packed away the Winchesters and the miscellaneous ones because I'm not messing with them. Alright, in a bit. Alright, with the Remingtons, there are more, so you can start to see the trends. 9.5, 9.6, and 9.7 are the majority. I got 9.4 and 10.0. Now, a month ago or so, I did like around 4,000 of them. And you could really start to see the pattern show of where the majority lied. There'd be 3 to 4 where they would start to compete for number one. You know, you had a race going, you know, first through fourth place, and then the stragglers after that. But yes, does show the, you know, the bigger sample size, the more you start to see it. All right, well, I guess next time we'll be core seating. I do believe. as you've seen, you can just never tell. I may have something else pop into my head and go, hey, check this out. All right, well, see you next time. Later. Oh yeah, for those of you really being weirded out, I did fish out that that odd case that fell into the wrong bin. Just so I'll let you know. See ya.